Hello, scholars. Oh, there I am. Hello, scholars, and welcome to day 6 of the one and only Ivan. I've heard from a lot of you and a lot of your parents that you guys are really enjoying this story, and that makes me so happy because it's one of my very favorite stories and books. So let's turn to the next pages in our packet for chapters 49 through 69, pages 114 through 137. We're going to start, as we always do, with our quick write. We'll do it together. The quick write today is write about a time you have lost someone close to you. Now, scholars, this doesn't mean that someone who's close to you has died before. Maybe someone close to you moved away, or you're not really friends with somebody anymore because something happened, or something like that. Okay, so it doesn't have to be someone who passed away. It can be someone who passed away, but it doesn't have to be. It can also be a pet. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing part of the question and my answer. One time I lost someone close to me was when, and then you guys can write your own answer. I'm going to finish up. Okay, scholars, if you need some more time for your quick write, go ahead and pause your device and take the time that you need. I'm going to share my answer. My answer says, one time I lost someone close to me was when my friend Natalie moved and switched schools in 3rd grade. I never saw her again. So that was one time that I lost someone who was close to me. I can't wait to read what you guys have written for your quick writes. Let's go to, our vocabulary words. The first word that we have today is shrouded. What word? Shrouded. Shrouded is either an adjective or a verb. It means covered. What's the word? Shrouded. Our second word is forage. What word? Forage is a verb, and it means to hunt and search. What's the word? Forage. Our next word is venture. What word? Venture is a verb. It means to travel. What's the word? Venture. Our last word is amplify. What word? Amplify. Amplify is a verb, and it means to make louder. What's the word? Amplify. So today our vocabulary words are shrouded, forage, venture, and amplify. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit today about what it means to compare and contrast something. When you're comparing things, you are finding ways that they are alike. So if I was comparing myself to my sister, I would say we both have blonde hair, we both have blue eyes, we both have the same parents, we both like to go on walks. And then if I were to contrast me and my sister, I would say things that are different. So some things that are different between my sister and I is Emma is taller, Miss Halverson is shorter. Emma is a nurse, Miss Halverson is a teacher. Emma lives in North Dakota. Mrs. Halverson lives in Minnesota. I'm sure there are many more differences that we have. Mrs. Halverson lives in a house. Emma lives in an apartment. And I could list on and on the differences between me and my sister. So remember, when you're comparing something, you're saying how things are alike. And when you are contrasting something, you're saying how they are different. All right, come along with me, scholars. I'm going to start off by reading pages 114 through 129. That's a long reading today. Everybody find page 114 in their book. Page 114 starts chapter 49, and it's entitled Knowing. I'll put myself on full there. Knowing. Before Mac, before Bob, even before Ruby, I know that Stella is gone. I know it the way you know that summer is over and winter is on its way. I just know. Stella once teased me that elephants are superior because they feel more joy and more grief than apes. Your gorilla hearts are made of ice, Ivan, she said, her eyes glittering. Ours are made of fire. Right now, I would give all the yogurt raisins in all the world to have a heart made of ice. What does he mean there? So when Stella's making these metaphors, right, she's saying an elephant's heart is fire, a gorilla's heart is ice. What does she mean? I think she means that elephants can feel more than gorillas. So she was saying, oh, you gorillas, you have no feelings. But here, Ivan said that he really wants a heart of ice because he's probably hurting really bad because his best friend has just passed away. All right. It's sad. Poor Stella. Page 115, 5 men. Bob heard from a rat, a reliable source, that they tossed Stella's body into a garbage truck. It took 5 men and a forklift. Comfort. All day I try to comfort Ruby, but what can I say? That Stella had a good and happy life, that she lived as she was meant to live, that she died with those who loved her most nearby? At least the last was true. Crying. Julia cries all evening while her father sweeps and mops and dusts and cleans the toilet. When George sees Mac, he runs to him. I can only hear a few words. Vet, should have, wrong. Mac shrugs. His shoulders droop. He leaves without a word. When George wipes the fingerprints off my glass, his cheeks are wet. He doesn't meet my eyes. Page 118, the one and only Ivan. When all the humans have left, I send Bob to check on Ruby. How is she? I ask when he returns. She was shivering, Bob says. I tried to cover her with hay, and I told her not to worry because you were going to save her. I glare at him. You told her that? You promised Stella. Bob lowers his head. I wanted to make the kid feel better. I shouldn't have made that promise, Bob. I just wanted... I point to Stella's domain, and for a moment it seems like I've forgotten how to breathe. I wanted to make Stella happy, I guess, but I can't save Ruby. I can't even save myself. I flop onto my back. The cement is always cold, but tonight it hurts. Bob leaps on my belly. You are the one and only Ivan, he says. Mighty Silverback. He licks my chin, and he's not even checking for leftovers. Say it, Bob commands. I look away. Say it, Ivan. I don't answer, so Bob licks my nose until I can't stand it any longer. I am the one and only Ivan, I mutter. And don't you ever forget it, he says. When I gaze at the food court skylight, the moon Stella loved is shrouded in clouds. Once upon a time. All night, Ruby moans and sniffles. I pace my domain. I don't want to fall asleep in case she needs something. Ivan, Bob says gently, get some sleep, please, for your sake and mine. Bob can't sleep unless he's on my stomach. I hear a stirring. Ivan, Ruby calls. I rush to my window. Ruby, are you all right? I miss Aunt Stella, Ruby sobs, and I miss my mom and sisters and my aunts and cousins too. I know, I say, because it's all I can think of. Ruby sniffles. I can't sleep. Do you know any stories the way Aunt Stella did? Not really, I admit. Stories were Stella's specialty. Tell me a story about when you were little, Ruby pleads. She puts her trunk between the bars. Please, Ivan? I scratch the back of my head. I don't remember things, Ruby, I admit. It's true, Bob says, trying to be helpful. Ivan has a terrible memory. He's the opposite of an elephant. Ruby lets out a long, shivery breath. Oh, well, that's okay. Night, Ivan. And Bob. I listen to Ruby's soft sobs for long, horrible minutes. Then I hear my saying, once upon a time there was a gorilla named Ivan. And slowly and deliberately, I try to remember. The grunt. I was born in a place humans call Central Africa in a dense rainforest, so beautiful no crayons could ever do it justice. Gorillas don't name their newborns right away the way humans do. We get to know our babies first. We wait to see hints of what might yet be. When they saw how much she loved to chase me around the forest, my parents decided on my twin sister's name, Tag. Oh, how I loved to play tag with my sister. She was so nimble, but when I got too close, she would leap onto my unsuspecting father. Then I would join her, and we would bounce on that tolerant belly until he gave us the grunt, the rooting pig sound that meant enough. That grunt never got old, although my father might have disagreed. Mud. It didn't take long for my parents to find my name. All day long, every day, I made pictures. I drew on rocks and bark and my poor mother's back. I used the sap from leaves. I used juice from fruit, but mostly I used mud. And that's what they called me, mud. To a human, mud might not sound like much, but to me, it was everything. Protector. My family, which humans call a troop, was just like any other gorilla family. There were 10 of us, my father, the silverback, my mother, and 3 other adult females, a juvenile male called a blackback, and 2 other young gorillas. Tag and I were the babies of the group. We squabbled now and then as families will, so they argued every once in a while. But my father knew how to keep us in line with a simple scowl. And for the most part, we were happy to do what we were meant to do, to feed and forage and nap and play. My father was a master at leading us to the ripest fruit for our morning feast and the finest branches for our night nests. He was everything a silverback is meant to be, a guide, a teacher, a protector. And no one could chest beat like my father. A perfect life. Gorilla babies and elephant babies and human babies are not so different, except that a gorilla gets to spend the day riding on his mother's back like a cowboy on a horse. Simile, right? So the gorilla and the baby is like a cowboy and a horse. It's a pretty great system from the baby's point of view. Slowly, carefully, a young gorilla begins to venture farther and farther away from the safety of his mother's arms. He learns the skills he will need as an adult. How to make a nest of branches, weave them tightly or they will fall apart in the middle of the night. How to beat your chest, cup your palms to amplify the sound. How to go vining from tree to tree, don't let go. How to be kind, be strong, be loyal. Growing up gorilla is just like any other kind of growing up. You make mistakes, you play, you learn, you do it all over again. It was for a while a perfect life. The end. One day, a still day, when the hot air hummed, the humans came. Fine. After they captured my sister and me, they put us in a cramped, dark crate that smelled of urine and fear. Somehow I knew that in order to live, I had to let my old life die, but my sister could not let go of our home. It held her like a vine, stretching across the miles, comforting, strangling. We were still in our crate when she looked at me without seeing, and I knew that the vine had finally snapped. What does that mean? Let's read that again. We were still in our crate when she looked at me without seeing, and I knew that the vine had finally snapped. So she was still in the crate when she died. She was still on the way from Africa to the United States. I'm going to, all right, so that is where I'm going to stop. You, scholars, are to read from The Temporary Human to, you can stop at punishment. So pages 130 through 137. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 130 through 137. Okay. All right, friends. That is all we are going to do today for reading The One and Only Ivan. I know that this group of chapters is kind of sad. We lost Stella, and then Ivan tells us the story about his sister Tag, who didn't make it over to America. But now I think Ivan is getting some ideas about how to help Ruby, and we'll see if he can keep his promise to Stella, right? When he said that he would help Ruby and help her live a better life. All right, readers, I'll see you next time. Bye.